So last time that we did this, we talked about Notrump. We've done this presentation before. If you've seen my content before about CPT discussion, you have seen this before. We did this on, I don't even know what day of the week it is, but we did this on Sunday. That's what happened. I'm doing it again because I had to delete the video due to some technical issues. But we're gonna run through it pretty quickly again. The idea here is we talked about this beforehand about like what it looks like from the declaring side of play. What happens when you're in a no trump contract? What kind of things do you need to work on? What kind of things what kind of tricks are available to you? What we looked at this past time was what can we do as defenders against no trump contracts. So just really quickly, if you haven't seen this before, we have been working through the book Card Play Technique or The Art of Being Lucky by Victor Mollo and Nico. We spend about 4 days on each chapter. It gets organized over Discord. There's a lot of good discussion that happens. I think it's really honestly a pretty valuable book if you are at, I'd say, like beginner to intermediate level. If you're really familiar with like how to do squeezes and in plays and like you're very confident in your suit combinations and all sorts of like things that you can do along the ways, like if your card play is really good, then maybe this isn't the best book for you. But I think a lot of people, for almost everybody, there's something that's really like interesting or something valuable in there. And for me personally, almost every chapter like formalizes or makes available to me something that I wasn't aware of before. So when we're, hey, Mr. ATC, good to see you. Everything is fucked, and I'm repeating a stream that I've already done because I had to delete it before. Not because of this, but because of some other technical issue. But I'm upset, and I am doing the best I can by just, like, continuing as normal. Fuck. Okay. If you're defending against a no-trump contract, your opening lead is really important. Your opening lead is an agreement between you and your partner that helps you figure out what the distribution of the hand is as quickly as possible. So these are like formalized. There's a lot of times that like this stuff is very standard. If you have the top of a sequence, what we mean by a sequence in a no trump contract is honors, 3 of them in a row. King, queen, jack, ace, king, queen, 10, 9, 8 even is an honor sequence. You want to lead the top of an honor. You could have like a broken sequence like king, queen, 10, or like ace, king, jack. Things like these you also want to lead the top of. There's a whole bunch of these. The CPT goes into a few of them. There are other bridge defense books that go into this in even more detail, but these standardized lead openings are a way for you to communicate with your partner and get information back and forth as quickly as possible. Something that you want to be very, very careful of when you're on defense is blocking a partner suit, especially when you're a no trump. Hey PJ, good to see you. Aces are meant for capturing your opponent's honors. Yeah, that is totally a thing that is not on my list here, but it is absolutely a good point to keep in mind. Good to see you, Sabutin. And yeah, this is absolutely a rage stream. I'm not gonna lie. I am full of rage and fire, and like you probably are not gonna be able to put this rage out. But I am channeling it as best as I can into doing something that I probably should have done before all of this came down. Oh my god, this is a mess. Okay. Defending against no trump contracts. What did I mean by blocking a partner suit? Remember how I said about your standardized leads being a way to communicate between you and your partner about what your holdings are? Well, let's consider what happens if your partner leads like king, and you assume your partner is leading from king, queen, jack, and you're sitting there holding the ace and like say like a really low card, like the 2. So your partner's led the king, you think they probably have the queen and the jack, you're staring at your ace. What do you do here? Well, if you sit there and duck with your 2, and let partner lead back the suit again with their queen, and then you win with your ace, because what else are you going to do? You have no way to get the lead back to your partner. You've blocked them. This is not a good idea. So a good rule of thumb is if you have an honor doubleton. So and your partner has led a suit, and you think it's from like an honor sequence or a broken honor sequence, it's a good idea for you to go ahead and unblock that suit. Play your honor. It's going to feel a little bad just for a moment, but what it's going to do in the long run is get your side tricks. This is really important and a great rule of thumb for defense. Much more generally, using signaling between you and your partner is going to be something that is going to be really important. Attitude signals get mentioned for the very first time in this chapter. They're useful not just in no-trump contracts, not just in no-trump contracts, but also in suit contracts. This is going to be something that is also subject to an agreement between you and your partner. This book advocates the use of standard signaling, which means that if you play a high card in response to partner's honor, you are encouraging them in that suit. It typically means that you have a connecting honor. You have something that like works with what they have. You want them to keep playing that suit. If you play a low card, you're doing the opposite. You're discouraging from them. What a lot of like kind of like expert standard, I think, maybe like that's the wrong phrase, but a lot of people play upside down signaling, where the opposite is true. You play a low card to tell your partner, come on, give me all the good stuff. And you play a high card to say, you know what, don't keep playing that suit, switch to something else. And the reason for this is because your high cards can tend to be valuable. Those 9s and 8s, sometimes those intermediate cards are really worthwhile, and it's not a good idea to have to spend them on a signal. So if you use this upside down signaling, you can tell partner, come on, I've got good cards. Like, let's keep playing the suit. Like CPT regulate, like just kind of describes this as a theoretical advantage. And yeah, like that's true, but like, you know, I think there are real practical advantages to it too. So I've got a couple comments. Let's see. Playing high from shorthand in general, sometimes from declarer as well. Yeah, playing high from the shorthand, I think this is something that's a little bit more general. But yeah, you want to make sure, like I think this is kind of like, this is not just like a defensive, like this idea of blocking a partner suit is not just a defensive point of view. This also works on offense. Like you can think about this as if your like suit is like 4-3 and the honors are like king queen in one hand and like ace jack in the other, ace jack fourth in the other. It's probably better for you to play that king queen first and then switch back to the other. It's like king queen third, I guess. Like so it's 4-3. Like if you play the king queen first and then switch back to the other hand, you're gonna get more tricks than if you like play the ace jack and then move over to the king and now you don't have a way to get back to your other hand. You have to play these on from the short side, and like this works on defense as well as on offense. Hey Ace, good to see you. Yeah, total rage stream. We are doing the best we can, and we are also rushing through material that I have already done, but we're gonna do what we can. So rule of 11. I thought this was really interesting, and I've started applying this on offense too. The article is in the pipeline. Good to hear. So I have been working with Ace over the course of the past like day and a half, I guess at this point. Really, I have to say it's been probably just 24 hours. I think like everything has been a little bit uprooted since we started receiving these emails that have just really, I don't know what's going on. And I think the best thing we can do is kind of keep doing business as normal, while bringing public attention to the fact that we are being manipulated like this. I don't know. I want this stream to keep going. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to keep trying to make Bridge accessible to people. And like, I want to keep learning. I'm new at this. And I'm really worried that like whatever is happening here behind the scenes is going to come down with something that feels immutable after the fact. I want to help us be part of this conversation. And so I think the best way to get people who are actively going to be on the receiving end of whatever policy decision is made is by like trying to get public attention to this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I really do firmly believe that this is the case. Okay, rule of 11. So rule of 11 is this really cool thing where if you're leading from fourth highest, you do 11 minus the number of the spot card that you're leading from. And that tells you how many cards outside of the person who's leading that hand are higher than that card. This is really kind of weird to understand, and I didn't explain it very well, and I also just lost almost all of my viewers by making that statement. That's cool. Okay, let's see. Rule of 11. Let's see. Say you lead the 6. And that is, and like, your partner leads a 6. You're sitting in 3rd seat. That 6 is you're assuming that's from a 4th highest lead. You do 11 minus 6. You're, hey, Vulture, good to see you. So you do 11 minus 6. You say that there's 5 cards that are greater than 6 that are outside of the person who led the 6's hand. You look at your own hand, you can count. You look at the dummy, you can count how many cards are higher. And then you do a little bit of math, and you can now tell pretty much what the distribution of the suit is, and you can tell what declarer is holding in their hand, and you can figure it out from there to like make your best decision about what you have to do with the hand. And kind of going just like hand in hand with this is that it's not always right to play 3rd hand tie. Sometimes it's right for you to go ahead and like you have to figure out like what the holding is. You have to use the information that your partner is giving you off their opening lead in order to figure out what the distribution of the suit is as quickly as possible. And from there, figure out what you have to do. So we're going to look at a couple of examples of this, then a couple of problems, and then we're going to look at all of the ways in which I don't know how to play a trump suit. Oh, I totally forgot about this. This is really cool. So card play technique doesn't discuss this at all, but I found this in a different book. Eddie Cantor teaches modern bridge defense. This is called the Jack Denies Convention. So when partner leads a jack, and you're sitting in 3rd seat trying to figure out what that means, that jack is kind of ambiguous. It could be the top of an interior sequence, like partner could have king, jack, 10, 9, they could have like ace, jack, 10, 9, or they could have like, or that jack could be the top of an actual sequence. It could be jack, 10, 9 itself. It could be jack 10, like 8, it could be like a broken sequence. You're not really sure what's happening here. So Jack Denies Convention is a way to actually resolve that ambiguity. And this says that anytime your partner leads the jack, it has to be from jack 10, 9. It has to be the top of a sequence. It's saying that there is no card that is higher than your jack in your hand. You can't have the king. You can't have the ace. This cannot be from an interior sequence. And what you do if you have an interior sequence, like say you have ace, jack, 10, is you actually lead the 10. And then person sitting in 3rd seat has to do a little bit of deductive work. They sit there and they look around. They check the dummy. They see if the 9 is in the dummy. They look at their own hand. They see if the 9 is there. If they can see the 9 in either seat, then they absolutely know that partner can't be leading from jack 10, 9. They can't be leading from jack 10, 9. It can't be an interior sequence. And this has to be, they're not leading from jack to 9. It's not a sequence. It has to be an interior sequence. So you have something higher and you can work from that. If they see the jack sitting around there, then it has to be from like a 10, 9, and they know that it's now like a 10, 9, 8. So like it resolves this kind of like ambiguity about what's happening. So like I thought this was pretty interesting, and it kind of like clears up like an issue where there might be some confusion between partners. But this is not something you should assume in a pickup partnership. You kind of have to discuss this, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Hey Southern, good to see you. And let's see. Somebody's been saying in Europe it's pretty standard to lead 1st, 3, or 5th. I've heard of this before. So from ace, jack, 10, you lead the 10. Showing 0 or 2 higher. From queen, jack, 10, you lead the queen, showing 0 or 2 higher, and so on. It fixes that problem with the standard lead. Okay, so like there's definitely a few of these. This is the first time I had seen this kind of like written out formally, and I thought that was kind of interesting. But it seems like maybe like there's like other things that might work a little bit better. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is from Eddie Cantor, and it's the lead that gets recommended in his book. I got this as a Christmas gift. So I found it in there. I wanted to include it in the discussion. Okay, so let's take a quick look at an example, and we're going to do this double dummy style. The bidding has been 1 no trump from south, 3 no trump from north, and yes, it's pretty sketch with north only holding 8 points, but we're going to ignore it. We didn't say anything. Our partner, and so I have kind of 2 questions. First, what should our partner lead? And then what should we do sitting third hand as east? So, let's see. I'm trying to remember this because it's been a couple of days and I'm having to recap it. Yeah, Southern, 100% this bidding is sketch. The book was written in the 1950s and it doesn't always make sense. But we're just kind of work with the bidding as is and just accept it as fact and try and work with the examples. It's not necessarily the right thing to do. Vulture is claiming that Vulture is saying that we should play the heart 10. So I think you have the right suit here. We definitely want to lead from the hearts, so we have to figure out what's the right heart to lead. And King Queen 10 is a broken sequence. This is something where we're just kind of we're only missing the jack to make this a true sequence. So we still want to lead from the top of that. We should lead the king from partner. Whatever your agreements are, just cash 5 hearts. Yeah, that's ideally what we want to do here. And the only way that we're going to be able to cash those 5 hearts is it seems like West should probably lead the king of hearts. It's that king. We should lead the king from King Queen 10. Okay, we're getting a little bit of. Let's see. So let's see. Vulture is saying that a small heart is better in case of Jack 4th, and then if you're going to lead 1 3 5, the correct lead would probably be a small 5th. But the most likely lead is a high honor. Yeah, I think if you look at the Gib 2/1 card, which I'm going to use for most of my references, like from King Queen 10, like the standard lead is king. So I'm going to work on that assumption. Between you and your partner, I think there's absolutely room for negotiation on this kind of stuff. From a 5-card suit, 1 3 5, I think like playing the 1 3 5, I've heard of this before. This seems really useful. I'm not super familiar with it. I'm a total beginner. Ace is saying the partner should lead the queen to suggest the unblock. What CPT does suggest is that you should from honor doubleton, like what you're setting here. We're assuming that partner is leading from King Queen Jack or King Queen 10. We're sitting here with the ace doubleton. We should always unblock if like we assume partner is leading from an honor sequence. The goal here is for us to go ahead and unblock and then play our card back to partner so that we get finessing position on the jack that's present in the declare. This goes ahead and gets us a way to take 5 heart tricks off the top and set the contract. If we play the queen here, the queen suggests Queen Jack XX or King Queen 10X. Either way, overtaking is right. Yeah, so this is very generally one of the things that was mentioned here. Like, we want to make sure that we're not blocking partner suit, and one of the ways that you can make sure you're not blocking partner suit is if you have like honor doubleton. It's generally a good idea to go ahead and play that honor if you think partner is leading from an honor sequence. As it happens, East has ace-x and should always get this right no matter what card you lead. Let's see. Old-fashioned. Some people might play king as the unblocked card. It's more about knowing your agreements. I 100% agree with that, Ace. This is, we're looking at things that are more about general card play technique. And this stuff is 100% subject to agreement. And we're going to look at a couple of examples later where, like, I think we, like, modify answers based on that. Agreements are huge. This is why my defense is horrible lately. If I'm not wrong, Cantor leads promises 1 higher. Southern, I'm not entirely sure I know what you mean by Cantor lead. I think maybe I thought I knew what you meant, but I might be wrong. Okay, let's look at another example. We'll do 2 more problems. Okay, so I'll give you a heads up. This is going to be a rule of 11 example. So we're looking at a 3 no-trump contract. Our partner, East, has led the 6 of hearts as their opening lead, and the declarer has gone ahead and played low from dummy. They went ahead and played the 4 of hearts. Our hand has the queen 9-5. What should we do? Do we play the 9? Do we play the queen? Do we play the 5? Like, let's try and reason out. What could declarer have? What are we supposed to do here? Let's see. There's some systems where you lead the queen from king queen 10 to show 1 higher. So there, I mean the king jack h jack x6. Okay, yeah. So that's the 1 higher system. Ace is saying that's Rusino and not standard. Some people play coded 9s and 10s. Yeah, the bridge defense book where I took the Jack and Eyes convention from does talk about coded 9s and 10s. I didn't include that because I thought it seemed a little bit more esoteric than the Jack and Eyes. I thought like that like resolved like a really nice ambiguity that like seemed different from like how Gib handled it. So let's think about this from the rule of 11. So we do 11 minus 6. That says there are 5 cards outside of partner's hand that are greater than 6. We take a look at our hand. We take a look at the dummy. We see ace, 10, queen, 9. That's 4 of those 5. That means declarer can only have 1 of those 5 cards that are left. Yeah, GLGR is chiming in with exactly the right idea here. And yes, Southern, this is against Notrump. So if we think about what a declarer has to have left, that 1 card that has to like outside of their hand, like let's think about what the possibilities could be. It could be a 7 or an 8, in which case it doesn't really matter if we play the queen or the 9. Either it's going to have the same result. Declarer gets 1 trick in hearts. If they have the jack, then again, it doesn't really matter what we do. They're actually going to get 2 tricks in hearts because the jack and the 10 are going to work together to drive out our queen and king. But where this does actually make a difference is if the 1 card that declarer has the tire is the king. If we play out the queen and the king gets to overtake our queen, then we're actually going to get it, then that means the partner has to have the jack. And now declarer has finessing position on a partner's jack, and they're going to get to take 3 heart tricks instead of just the 2 that they're entitled to. So it's actually really important for us to play the 9 of hearts here instead of moving on and playing the king instead of playing the queen. And we're able to reason this out because of the rule of 11. So this becomes really useful, and I've actually started trying to like work this out like from like a declarer side of view. If I say the if I see like somebody lead like what I assume is a 4th best lead against me, I look at my hand, I look at the dummy hand, and I try and work from there how many cards it must be in 3rd hand that are against me. So this works both ways, and you can start to use all of these tactics to your advantage in all sorts of directions. BZ, yeah, I don't think Jack and Eyes is standard. It's absolutely not. But I thought that it was an interesting convention, and I wanted to bring it up to people because, like, you might not have seen it otherwise. You're realizing how difficult it is to discuss reading agreements via Twitch chat. Yeah, like, it's, there's a lot, like, I'm making a ton of assumptions, and some of this definitely comes from what's available, like just kind of the give 2/1 card. Okay, let's do a quick example thing. So the auction's gone 1 no trump, 3 no trump. Nobody from your side has said anything. And let's pretend that we're sitting first seat. We have to figure out what we're going to lead from each of these 3 hands. I'm going to give just a few seconds and then we'll talk about it because I have done these before. Okay, so that one no trump, three no trump auction should give you a little bit of information. First of all, they didn't explore the possibility of a 4-4 major fate. This should tell you that the dummy is probably short in both majors. They don't have a 4-card fit in either major. They don't have 4 cards in either major. So what you should be looking for on this major is, like, your first glance should be looking at your major suits. And in this left-hand example, we have actually a really nice spade suit. We have King Jack 10 9. So from this King Jack 10 9, we kind of have this interior sequence. It kind of depends on your partnership agreements. We could lead the Jack. That would be great. If you're following that Jack denies convention that we talked about, then it would be better for you to lead the 10, because leading the Jack would say that you don't have the King. But you lead the 10, and then partner gets to look around. If they don't see the 9 and they don't see the Jack, then they're going to make an assumption that this is from an interior sequence, and you're going to go ahead and assume that you have the ace or the king and move from there. From the second example, we kind of have 2 options here. We have a 5-card spade suit, but we also have this King Jack 9 6 in the diamonds. So you might be kind of tempted to lead from that King Jack 9 6 in the diamonds, but we have a lot of work to do here. And there's a real danger in leading like the queen from Queen Jack 9 6. If we play out the queen, then we could potentially end up destroying our tennis position, and we don't necessarily get to take the tricks that we're entitled to in diamonds. It's better to leave that alone and just keep leading for length in the major suit, where we should look to first. So I think probably the best lead here is our 4th best holding and with the 4 spades. Queen Jack 9 6. I'm not sure if I wrote something wrong there or not, GLGR. Okay, so in the last example, oh, did I say that wrong? Sorry. Yeah, Queen Jack 9 6. So in the last example, we kind of have the same question, which is we have a 4-card spade suit, the Ace Queen 10 4, but here we have a diamond suit that's a little bit more short up. We have the Queen Jack 10 6. Yeah, BZ, I think 2 is could go kind of either way, but absent something else, I think you can't hurt too many positions by leading from the 4th best from the spade suit, whereas you could potentially hurt your diamond position by leading the queen from Queen Jack 9 6. In the third example, it would be pretty disastrous for you to lead almost any card from the spade suit. That Ace Queen 10 is missing the king and the jack. This is not a good position for you to be leading from yourself. And if you look at Queen Jack 10, this is actually short up a little bit. You're not missing any cards from the sequence. You're not jeopardizing anything by leading the queen. You're going to be able to score that 10. You're going to be able to score your diamond stopper regardless of what happens here. So I think it's better to be much safer in this third example and just go ahead and lead the queen of diamonds and figure out what happens from there. Exactly, the GLGR, the touching honors are going to be better. So Southern's votes are the jack, the 4, and the queen. Yeah, I think that is, I think that's pretty much exactly right. The only one where you might have a different thing would be if you are playing the Jack denies convention with your partner, in which case on example 1 you would want to lead the 10. But this is something you absolutely have to discuss with your partner. You cannot assume that you're going to be playing that. Okay, let's do one more example, and then I'm going to do a little bit more a little bit of other stuff. The jack, the 4 clubs, the queen spades. Yeah. I'm going to assume that Southern meant the right things. Okay. So I could have put the bidding on here in a little bit of a better format, but North opened it with 1 diamond, which makes sense, I think. They have some points. They have diamonds. Let's go. We're sitting east, and with our trashy ace-10 fifth, we overcalled one spade. South then bid 2 no. Our partner didn't bid anything, and North bid 3 no. Our partner bid the king. Our partner opened the. Our partner leads the king of spades. So we have to figure out what we're gonna do next. So let's think about this really quickly, and I'll give everybody maybe about 10 or 15 seconds, and then I'm gonna walk us through what's happening here. Okay, so we have to figure out what's the spade suit actually looks like. Partner is led from king, and then the key point of this auction is that South has bid 2 no trump after we bid 1 spade. That 2 no trump almost guarantees that South has a stopper in spades. So there's really only one way that South can have a stopper in spades, seeing that we don't see the queen of spades or the jack of spades at this point. South either has to have jack fourth or queen fourth. They have to have one of these honors, and what this means in particular is that our partner can only have 2 spades. The spades have to be 5, 4, 2, 2. So now that we know that the spades are 5, 4, 2, 2, South should have queen fourth or maybe queen jack fourth. Yeah, the book takes the interesting position that you should assume that partner's king lead is from king queen is from top of an honor sequence. But I think it's much better to assume that partner's lead is from a doubleton. If it's from an honor, that would be fantastic. But if you're assuming that it's from king queen, you could kind of get into trouble. So partners led this king. West should not be leading the king from king third. Yeah, we have to assume I like the key point here is I guess like if South has queen third, we could be assuming that it's set up like that, but no, I think we really have to play the spades for being 5, 4, 2, 2. So the best thing that we can do, the worst case scenario that we can play for, is partner being king X. So we have to play for that position. So if we assume the partner is king X, on the first trick, it is absolutely imperative that we duck underneath partner. But then we have to figure out what card we duck with. Because we want to make sure that we're signaling partner in a way that tells them, hey, it's all right for you to play the rest of your spades. We need you to keep going, actually. So depending on your signaling agreements with partner, you should either play the 3 of spades to give them a very strong come on signal, or you should play the 8 of spades to give the strongest come on signal that you could if you were playing under standard signaling. So in the best case scenario, what's going to happen is partner plays their king is going to hold, and then they play their low spade around the second time. We get to win this one, and then we get to force out the last spade that's above us, because if we're assuming that, let's see, if we know that South has to be queen jack XX or queen XX, queen fourth, or something like that, then we can make sure that we're set up that we can take the rest of our spade winners when we get back in again with our club ace. So it's absolutely imperative for us to duck the first time and then win the second time with our ace. Okay,